includes the introduction of staking, so something that we were able to accomplish despite the uncertainty in Washington.
Hey there, future millionaires. Welcome back to the channel. It's so good to have you here with me today. I hope you're having an absolutely amazing day, no matter where you are in this beautiful world of ours. Today, we need to have a real talk about XRP, and honestly, I'm getting pretty tired of seeing the same thing over and over again. You know what I'm talking about, right? Every single day, there's someone out there saying, "Don't sell your XRP. The ETFs are going live tomorrow morning." Or, "Hey, the ETFs just went live behind the scenes. Expect massive gains in the next 48 hours. But here's the thing, and I really need you to understand this. ETF approvals simply cannot happen during a government shutdown. Period. I honestly don't know why people keep saying tomorrow when tomorrow has been today for weeks now. Even when the government gets back up and running, we're probably looking at another 4 weeks minimum before anything moves forward. So realistically, we're looking at late November to the end of December for ETF approvals. Now don't get me wrong, I don't think it'll drag all the way to December. My gut says we're probably looking at mid-November, but only if the government reopens soon and everything gets fast-tracked. And trust me, I'd love nothing more than to see that happen. But let's be real here. These approvals are going to be delayed until the government is fully operational again. That's just the reality we're dealing with.
Staking ETFs could be coming even during this government shutdown. This comes from Grayscale. Take a listen.
We are doing everything that we can during the government shutdown. That includes the introduction of staking, so something that we were able to accomplish despite the uncertainty in Washington. But watch this space. I think there could be more crypto ETP products launched even while the government remains shut down.
So he's talking about staking ETFs, and those are different from spot ETFs. All right, let me break this down for you in simple terms because this is actually pretty important stuff. So what's the difference between a staking ETF and a spot ETF? Great question. A spot ETF is pretty straightforward. It just holds the cryptocurrency and gives you exposure to the price. So if XRP goes up, your ETF goes up. If it goes down, well, you get the picture. But a staking ETF? Now this is where it gets interesting. Not only does it hold the actual cryptocurrency just like a spot ETF, but here's the cool part. It's actively working to generate passive income for you through staking. Think of it like earning interest on your crypto while you sleep. Now, here's what I think is happening behind the scenes. Akins probably needs to give the green light on those spot ETFs first before anything else can move forward. But you know what? I think a lot of these companies are getting pretty clever. They're trying to sneak in these staking ETFs and other variations that are a bit different from your standard spot ETF. Why? Because they want to get ahead of the competition. Smart move if you ask me. But at the end of the day, we're all still sitting here waiting for the same thing, the government to reopen. Until that happens, we're basically in a holding pattern. So that's the real tea on ETFs right now. As of October 2025, Washington remains gridlocked with shutdown odds extending towards Thanksgiving now. Okay, now here's some news that might actually get you excited. I've been hearing rumors that the government could reopen this week, and guess what? There's actually an article backing this up. Kevin Hassett, who's the White House Economic Advisor and National Economic Council Director, told CNBC that this whole shutdown situation, and get this, he's calling it the Schumer shutdown, is likely to wrap up sometime this week. I mean, you gotta love the drama, right? But here's why this is huge for us crypto folks. I genuinely think the government reopening could be seriously bullish for the entire crypto market. Why? Because it means we're back on track, baby. We'll finally have that clarity we've all been desperately waiting for. No more guessing games, no more maybe tomorrow posts every single day. Once they're back in business, I'm betting we'll get some fresh, revised dates and deadlines for all these ETF approvals. And you know what that means? The market is going to see this as having something real to look forward to again. We'll actually have a concrete time frame. Imagine that. And obviously, this is going to give us a much clearer picture of what's happening with those XRP spot ETFs we've all been obsessing over. So keep your eyes peeled this week. Things might finally start moving. Okay, so let's talk about the day the internet basically broke. And if your apps were acting crazy this morning, here's exactly what happened. So picture this. You wake up, grab your phone, and suddenly nothing is working. Snapchat, dead. Fortnite, gone. Facebook, vanished. Even Coinbase was down. It was like we time-traveled back to 1999 when dial-up was still a thing. What caused this digital apocalypse? Amazon Web Services,
or AWS as the tech folks call it. This thing is literally the invisible backbone holding up about half the internet, and it just crashed. Hard. And we're not talking about just a few websites here. This thing went global. Alexa stopped responding to people, PlayStation users couldn't game, and corporate dashboards everywhere just went completely dark for hours. It was wild. Amazon eventually came out and said, "Yeah, we found the problem and we're working on multiple ways to fix it faster." But here's what really gets me. Why do we have so many critical things tied to just one server system? Or even just a handful of servers? It's honestly mind-blowing. This whole mess is the perfect reminder of why DeFi is the future. Decentralization is the way to go, people. We desperately need better options moving forward because, spoiler alert, this isn't the first time AWS has crashed and left everyone hanging. And you know what everyone started talking about after this? What happens to our transactions when everything goes offline? That's a pretty important question, don't you think?
And Smoke pointed out, XRP Ledger has offline transactions. All right, let's talk about something that's been flying under the radar but is absolutely game-changing. So Ripple has this CBDC platform that's built on a private ledger using XRP Ledger technology. And here's the kicker. It comes with some seriously enhanced functionality that most people don't even know about. We're talking offline transactions, and get this, it even works for people who don't have smartphones. Pretty cool, right? Now here's what blows my mind. Ripple has had this technology in place for years now. We're not talking about some brand new experimental thing. This has been ready to go. But you know what I keep hearing? People saying, well, when it comes to CBDCs, they're never going to use anything that can't handle offline transactions. And I'm just sitting here thinking, guys, Ripple already solved that problem. It's like people are still asking, when are they going to invent the wheel? While Ripple's already driving the car down the highway. The solution is literally right there, tested, proven, and ready to go. Yet somehow this keeps flying over everyone's heads. It's honestly kind of frustrating because the technology is already here. We just need people to pay attention. All right, let's dive into some technical analysis that just came in from Dark Defender, and this is actually pretty exciting stuff. So Dark Defender posted an update saying, "Hi all, hope everyone's doing well." Gotta love that friendly vibe. But here's where it gets interesting for us XRP holders. Looking at the 3-day time frame, XRP clearly bounced right off that $2.22 support level, exactly like we were hoping it would. And when Dark Defender posted this analysis, we were sitting pretty at $2.47. Now here's the really juicy part. Dark Defender expects XRP to finish what's called Wave 2 inside this triangle pattern we've been stuck in. And once that happens, we're looking at a breakout through that orange resistance line. The first target? Get ready for this. $5.85. And Dark Defender is calling this the first road to double digits. So we're not just talking about a little pump here. We're talking about XRP potentially making its way into that $10 plus territory. Now, obviously this is technical analysis and not financial advice, but man, it's pretty exciting to see these patterns lining up, isn't it? The fact that we bounced right off that support level exactly where it was expected, that's a pretty good sign that the technical analysis might be onto something here. Okay, so let me walk you through this chart because the timeline is absolutely fascinating. According to this analysis, we're still looking at the end of October for a major XRP breakout. So we're talking just around the corner here, people. But here's where it gets interesting. After that breakout, there's going to be a pullback that lasts until around mid-December. Now, this is super important to understand because during that pullback period, you're going to hear everyone screaming, "The top is in! Sell your XRP now! This run is completely over! Don't fall for it!" Because according to this chart, that pullback is just setting us up for the real breakout that takes us into 2026. And when I say real breakout, I'm talking about XRP potentially hitting $27 to $50 plus during the first quarter of next year. Can you imagine? Now, we're definitely going to see some solid price action throughout 2025. I've been saying that double digits could absolutely happen by the end of this year. That's still very much on the table. But if you're sitting there expecting 3-digit XRP prices, I think you're going to have to wait until 2026 for that kind of action. The key here is understanding the timeline and not panicking during that December pullback. That might be the last chance to load up before the real fireworks begin. Okay, this is actually huge news that just dropped from Eleanor Tourette, and I think this could be a real game changer. So get this, a bunch of major crypto companies are about to sit down with pro-crypto Senate Democrats this Wednesday for a roundtable discussion. And we're not talking about just any companies here. The guest list is absolutely stacked,
Coinbase, Chainlink, Galaxy, Kraken, Uniswap, Solana, Circle, and yes, Ripple's going to be there too. Plus Jito, A16Z Crypto, and apparently they might be adding even more companies to the list. This whole meeting is being led by Senator Gillibrand. And here's why the timing is so important. Negotiations with Republican senators have basically hit a wall recently. Why? Because there was this leaked Democratic proposal about regulating DeFi that caused a massive industry backlash. Not exactly the best timing. But here's what I'm hoping for. Maybe this roundtable can actually get some real work done. We desperately need more people on board to sign off on proper crypto clarity. And honestly, I'd love to see them fast-track that Clarity Act and get it approved sooner rather than later. We've been waiting for regulatory clarity for way too long, and this meeting could be exactly what we need to move things forward. So Wednesday could be a pretty important day for all of us in the crypto space. Let's see what comes out of it.
The Fed hosts a conference today. Crypto-dominated Link, Coinbase, ARK Invest, Circle, and of course BlackRock. And Franklin Templeton will be there. But a lot of people pointed out that Ripple is not going to be there, and right away Link is the future and XRP is the past. Do you honestly think that Ripple needs to go to these meetings? I gotta remind you, Ripple was chosen a long time ago. Okay, here's something that's absolutely mind-blowing and way bigger than most people realize. So we just talked about that crypto roundtable, but let me tell you about something that makes that look small in comparison. Ripple is part of the IMF, and I'm talking about the International Monetary Fund here, people. Chris Larson from Ripple is actually a member of the IMF High-Level Advisory Group on Finance and Technology. This group has just 19 members, all highly experienced experts and respected leaders in finance and tech. Now here's what's really interesting. Where's Coinbase on this list? Where's Chainlink? They're not there. And trust me, this IMF position is way bigger than anything with the FED. I honestly think the Fed situation is already a done deal for Ripple at this point. And get this, a lot of Ripple's partners are going to be at that Fed meeting too. But Ripple and XRP, they're meant for so much more than just the Fed. Here's where it gets absolutely crazy. If the IMF were to release XRP as an ESDR, that's a special drawing right, we'd be looking at 4-digit XRP prices. And I'm not talking about a gradual climb here. This would happen so fast that everyone would be priced out literally overnight. Like, you'd wake up and XRP would be in the thousands. Could this actually happen? It's definitely possible at some point in the future. And honestly, that's what makes Ripple's IMF connection so incredibly important. The payments race, how Digitap stacks up against XRP and Stellar. And they push this Digitap altcoin that they're trying to get people to invest in. Listen up, because I need to set the record straight on something really important here. We are not in some kind of payment race anymore. That race is already over. Ripple spent the last decade building the rails, putting all the infrastructure in place while everyone else was still figuring out what blockchain even was. Here's the reality. There is no alternative to XRP or XLM for what they do, period. When it comes to digital trade, XDC is going to be the absolute king. There's just no question about it. And I could keep going down the line here. HBAR, IOTA, ALGO, these cryptocurrencies aren't competing for position anymore. They've already been chosen for the future. QNT? That's going to be the glue holding this entire system together. Everything is literally coming together perfectly, like pieces of a puzzle that's almost complete. But here's what drives me absolutely crazy. Every once in a while, these articles drop trying to push some random new altcoin. Half the time, it's a coin you've never even heard of before. And they're like, oh, this is the future now. It's all over for XRP and XLM. Give me a break. The infrastructure is already built, the partnerships are already in place, and the future utility tokens have already been selected. We're not starting over, we're just waiting for the switch to flip. Don't let these random articles distract you from what's actually happening behind the scenes. It's all complete nonsense, and here's why. Every time BlackRock announces they're creating something new, people immediately start saying, well, they don't need XRP anymore. Come on, guys. It's so easy to say that. But when you actually understand what XRP is built to do, there's absolutely no denying that this is the future. XRP is going to become the world's bridge currency. Think about what that means for a second. It can move literally anything of value. We're talking tokenized gold, tokenized oil, fiat money, digital dollars, digital euros, you name it. Here's the thing. No matter what new digital currency or system they come up with, it still needs a bridge. And that bridge? That's XRP, baby. That's exactly why you're holding the future in your hands right now. All these other projects and announcements,
They're just adding more pieces to the puzzle that XRP is going to connect. So until this all plays out, and trust me, it's going to be incredible. Stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. All right, everyone, that's going to wrap up today's video. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. I seriously appreciate all of you amazing people in this community. I'll catch you in the next one, and until then, have an absolutely fantastic night. Keep holding strong, future millionaires.